What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another one of my live streams. These are just so much easier to do than, you know, the old-fashioned way. Oh, cool. I can hear my audio on here. That is a problem. Sorry. Let me mute that. My bad. Okay. Anyway, I am a noob, clearly. Yeah, so anyway, welcome. As you can tell by the title, we're going to be doing some discussion about MGK, Machine Gun Kelly. But first, I'm going to turn the AC down because it is hot as balls in this room. And I don't want to have to sweat through this whole thing. So anyway, sorry about that. Yeah. Machine Gun Kelly's next album's going to be a rap album. Oh my God. What are we going to do? He's leaving rock, you guys. What's up, Jane? What's up, Ryan? How's it going? I need to put these somewhere where I can monitor the comments. So yeah, let's dig into this. According to this article here by Loudwire, Machine Gun Kelly says he is done with rock now. Oh man, dang. So, speaking to Kevin Kenny on Audacity, Kelly dissected his foray into the rock world, starting with the 2019 single "I Think I'm Okay," which also featured Youngblood and Travis Barker, who is like the dawn of all any incoming would-be pop punker has to. It seems like they have to get approval from the Don, Mr. Travis Barker. He's producing things. His thumbprints are all over anything pop punk related nowadays. So before hinting that his next album will see him return to rap, in 2020 Kelly ventured into pop punk territory with the release of Tickets to My Downfall, followed by Mainstream Sellout in March this year. And my God, that album cover for Mainstream Sellout, I thought it was a joke. I thought somebody did a Photoshop job. I wish I had the image at the ready here to show you, but it was just awful. Both albums reached #1 on the U.S. Billboard 200 charts. I cannot freaking believe that. I don't think I can swear within the first 15 minutes of my live stream, but I'm wanting to. I cannot believe they reached #1, with Mainstream Sellout becoming one of the best-selling albums of 2022 thus far. Ugh. What has happened to the children of our nation, the youth of our nation? How have their standards gotten so low? Kelly hasn't ruled out a return to rock in the future, however. Oh God, I sure do hope that he gets his head straight and realizes that this was his destiny. He says, quote, "I'm going to make a rap album for myself. For no other reason, no point to prove, no chip on my shoulder. If I keep doing things to prove things to people, I'm going to, 1, drive myself crazy, and 2, not make a good product. I made Tickets and Mainstream Sellout because I wanted to make them. I need to now also make people miss that sound because Tickets and Mainstream Sellout are companion albums. I don't think making a third album that's so similar to those is going to be exciting unless it's missed. Kelly's time in rock has been turbulent, to say the least. While he has long had ties in the rock world, he was on the Warped Tour as early as 2010 and then Download Festival in 2017, as well as playing Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee in Netflix's 2019 adaptation of The Dirt. Some have viewed his genre crossover with suspicion. Well, yeah, to say the least. I mean, you know, I hate to sound like a gatekeeper because I hate gatekeepers. I hate elitist music snobs, but I mean, this guy, man, from the get-go, I remember hearing about him from like my friend's like young sister. She was like 9 or 10 or 11 at the time, and she listened to MGK, but this was like when he was doing his rap thing, which was cringy enough, but to just so seamlessly just cross over and make a completely different album, and not only do that but have it like really succeed, is just so like baffling to me as to like how the public didn't see this and be like, wait, this is bullshit. Like, this dude's clearly the biggest fucking poser in the world, and we shouldn't support him just on principle alone. But no, they didn't do that. They said, hell yeah, this is what we wish he had been doing the whole time. This was his calling. And that really bums me out. So last month, Kelly was interviewed alongside Bring Me the Horizon's Ollie Skies ahead of the pair's collaboration on Maybe, where he stated that gatekeepers always lose. MGK also courted controversy last year when he called Slipknot, quote, 50-year-olds wearing weird fucking masks while playing Riot Fest in Chicago. Yeah, that was not a good move. I don't understand how he's been in the game this long and doesn't realize the fact that shitting on other people in your industry is always going to be a bad move. It's always going to make you look like a douche. It's always going to backfire on you, and that's exactly what happened, because then it caused Corey Taylor to bite back in one of metal's weirdest feuds, while his set at Louder Than Life Festival in Kentucky saw him similarly booed and almost ended in a fight with an audience member. It's like, yeah, because Slipknot has remained respected and has remained in their lane, and you haven't. You are a guest in the world of any kind of rock music. You are not authentic in this field. I don't feel anyway, and I think a lot of other people have that same issue. We don't feel like there's anything authentic about you as a person, you as a player in the rock world or pop punk world. I mean, dude, your influences are hip hop. That's fine. Just stay in that world. Be like Eminem, but Eminem's like way better than you and totally destroyed you in that little rap battle y'all guys had a few years ago. But not everybody is a hater, however. Kelly's commercial success is a testament to his reach as an artist, and his time in rock has also seen him win Favorite Rock Artist at the American Music Awards. Gain recognition from the likes of Mick Jagger, who praised him for, quote, making sure there's life in rock and roll, which just shows me how clueless Mick Jagger actually is, if he really does feel that way. Good Lord. Machine Gun Kelly currently has over 19 million monthly listeners on Spotify and is regarded as one of the leading forces in the mainstream pop punk revival. Speaking to Audacity, he remembers that, quote, we all felt like we did something. There's going to be a wave that follows this explosion after working on I Think I'm Okay. That was always a dream. I'd watch peers of mine create their own moments where you see the generations that come after them want to look like them or make songs like them, he says. I was the same way. I wanted to make songs like them. Shit, take Travis Barker. It's been documented for many, many years. I love Blink-182. Even if Machine Gun Kelly does leave the rock world entirely, we dare say his bizarre behavior isn't going away anytime soon, especially given that his fiancée Megan Fox confirmed in Glamour interview that the couple drink each other's blood for ritual purposes. Yeah, whatever. So, yeah, since this article has come out, I've heard a lot of people just on social media in general, they've made statements like, oh man, whether you like Machine Gun Kelly or not, you should be like bummed out about this because, he was flying the flag for rock, and now there's one less big, figure out there that's going to bring back rock. And, I've got to say that, like, I'm really tired of people having this notion that rock is going to make this comeback, because I've just been hearing it for like the longest time and it hasn't happened yet, like not even remotely. I mean, look at the top releases on, say, like YouTube's music page. It's literally all hip hop and a little bit of pop, but like 80% hip hop. Maybe one token rock song, one token Red Hot Chili Peppers or Foo Fighters song will be in there, but that's because those bands are literally 100 years old and they've grown this huge following. So yeah, they're still putting up numbers, but it's not going to be enough. And people had this argument like 6 or 7 freaking years ago when there was like 3 bands that came out all seemingly at the same time. And, you had all these old heads like Eddie Trunk and all these other people say, like, oh man, Ghost Greta Van Fleet and the Struts are going to be like the trifecta that's going to bring rock back. And at the time I thought, you know what, maybe so. You know, because Ghosts did and does have a big following. Greta Van Fleet, I feel like, is a little bit more of a niche band, but sure. And the Struts are even lesser known than Ghost and Greta, but you know, they have their whole rock sound or whatever, and they're fairly new and contemporary. And I watched and I waited, and what I saw was Rolling Stones, you know, top streaming songs every week was Da Baby, Little Baby, Doja Cat, Megan Thee Stallion, Ariana Grande. Didn't see any Ghost songs up there. Didn't see any Greta Van Fleet. Didn't see any other thing that resembled rock. I did see Luke Combs, the country artist, up there one time. Did see him. Didn't see anyone else that was even remotely rock. So the whole notion that Machine Gun Kelly has any kind of effect on like ushering rock back into the mainstream is just silly to me. Like I don't see it happening. It hasn't happened. Obviously, it has not happened because you know, like they would be playing other band. Okay, so like back in the day, you know, when pop punk was actually a thing in its heyday, this is what would happen, and this is what happened with every popular music genre. One or two artists would come out, and they would be like really successful, like Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance when they first came out. They had these songs that, you know, first of all, there was still an ecosystem back in 2003, 2004, to where radio stations and MTV were still wanting to play rock music. They were still open to it. And My Chemical Romance and Fall Out Boy were just a new flavor of rock, because they still, you know, it was a traditional band format, you know, distorted guitars and all that, but it was, you know, emo, different genre, or punk, you know, punk, emo, whatever you want to call it. So what they did was, when these bands became successful, the label went out and they literally would sign 20 or 30 other bands that sounded kind of like a My Chemical Romance or a Fall Out Boy. And so before you knew it, you had like a couple dozen bands that all like kind of sounded the same, and it created this ecosystem. It created this environment where you had tour packages, you had merch at Hot Topic, your friends would wear it, the shirts, you know, like you would see stickers, they would talk about the songs, they would talk about the live shows, and before you knew it, you had this whole community that was based from these few little seeds that were planted, right? So if rock was ever to make a comeback, you would have thought that it would have happened in 2015 or 16 with Greta Van Fleet, Ghost, and the Struts, the trifecta there that was supposed to bring back rock. You would have thought it would have happened then. It did not. And then you would have thought it would have happened now with Machine Gun Kelly, Youngblood, Palais Royale, you know, the various things Travis Barker's working on. You would think that this community would spring up and you'd see all these other bands being played on the radio as well, because that's how it's always happened. But it hasn't happened like that this time. It's like they gave one rock guy a pass, and that was MGK. That's the only dude song. I don't even hear Youngblood songs on the radio. I don't know if they play him or not, but I don't hear any of that. I've only heard MGK on the radio that is supposed to be like representing the rock side of the world. And it's like, what's different? What's changed? Why didn't a bunch of other bands sprout up that sounded like MGK's new pop punk / hip hop infused sound? You know, why didn't we see that? And if those bands do exist, why weren't they signed? Why weren't they given a chance? Why weren't they put on the radio? Why has there been this concerted effort to stomp out any kind of alternative to hip hop? Why is that the only option, the only mainstream listening option? Why is that the only thing that's culturally relevant? I mean, for at least the past 10 years. You know, like, I get that, like, there was a time when, in, like, the mid to late 80s and throughout the 90s, rock kind of dominated and reigned supreme. But, you know, it's like, hip-hop came in and it's like, alright, now it's our time in the sun, bitch, you've had your chance. But it's like, the two can coexist, right? I mean, I don't have a problem with hip-hop existing. I just feel like it would be nice to see a more equitable share of mainstream space for rock music. But it's almost like whoever is the president of Clear Channel, the company that owns like all radio and all media, it's almost like they have a bias against like rock music. Like they don't want it to succeed, and they will stop at nothing to see it stomped out. Let me read some of your comments here. I see you guys have been commenting. We got referring to MGK. Didn't he get punked out of rock? I don't keep up with this, but MGK needs to hang it up. Yeah, I agree. You know, he's gotten a lot of blowback. I mean, for as much success as Machine Gun Kelly has, like, he has gotten a lot of blowback critically. I think the teeny bopper fans don't really care about that, and that's fine. But, I mean, you know, that's got to get to you. I don't care who you are. So I'm sure that had to have influenced his decision. But, geez, like, doing a straight heel turn and going right back to rap, I mean, that's the biggest, like, really, dude? Like, you went so out of your way to sell us on the fact that you're this, like, punk rocker. And when you finally did it and you sold all these records and now you're being like, nah, fuck that, I'm going back to rap. It's just so funny, man. Jane says his rock albums wasn't even that good in my opinion. I mean, it was just a poor Blink-182 rehashed. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Mr. Don Juan of pop punk, Travis Barker, probably had a lot of his fingerprints and DNA in that record. So he probably did bring a lot of his Blink stuff there. She also says, you may disagree with me, which is fine, but I think the only way to bring back rock and roll is to have, like, another Jim Morrison from The Doors. I mean, again, you know, you're talking about an era that was, like 60 years ago or something? What, 50 years ago at least? When were The Doors popular? The 60s, I thought? So, if a guy like Jim Morrison came out now, his music would have to be hip-hop based. Like, he would have to have some kind of hip-hop flavor to his music, or, like, they just wouldn't play him. They would not play his music, like, straight up. I'm just saying, like, that's the reality. Like, the zeitgeist has changed so much since the 60s, like, it's not even funny. That would be like if, like, you put, like, a rap artist out in the 60s doing the music they did now. They would get, like, banned from the country. Like, it would blow people's minds, like, all the swearing and the lyrics and the music. Like, it would just blow people's minds. If Lil Baby wanted to be a successful rapper in the 60s, first of all, he'd have to sing. He wouldn't be able to rap. He'd have to learn how to play guitar. I mean, you know, I think you get my point. John Evan Bear says, didn't hate MGK until he started his feud with Corey Taylor. Yeah, that was such a dick thing to say, you know, like, a bunch of old dudes wearing weird fucking masks. It's like, could you be any more, like, dismissive to, like, this band that has, like, left a really big impact on rock music, on newer rock music especially? Like, it's like, dude, you really do not know your place at all. Jane says once again, someone who's romantic but dark and mystical. Nicholas Papadopoulos says, good. Now I wish Rex Viper is done with music entirely. Well, we can only hope. I actually saw an AVGN episode, that the one he did on Contra. It was actually good, so it felt very much like vintage James Rolfe, and I hope he keeps going in that direction. Flying V, I can't believe people still give this man money. Yeah, I know, it's annoying. It's even more annoying that, like, he's younger than me and has done way more with his life. musically. My mic crackles. I don't know. If anyone else hears my mic crackling, then let me know. MGK has really gone downhill. I don't know when he's ever been uphill, but that's just me. Greetings for now, Brian. The audio is all on the left channel. What's up with that? Why is it all on the... Yeah, I see. See, it is all on the left channel. That's really weird. Okay. Can I fix this? That's weird. Okay, apparently I need to fix my microphone. Let me see what's going on here. Hold on 1 second. All in the left channel. What is that all about? Why would that be happening? Maybe if I do that, that fix it? Did that fix the problem? No, it did not. See, this is what's so great about doing a live stream is things mess up. And you can't fix them without losing some viewers because people get bored of your ass trying to... All right, hold on 1 second. I'm going to try to do a different input source here. 1 second. You're not going to hear any audio for a minute. Let's go to... Check, check, check. God damn it, it's still doing it. What the hell? Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. I can turn the volume down to where at least it... Oh, this is fun. I wonder if there's any way I can edit this out of it. I mean, I can always switch to my MacBook audio. It's going to sound a lot crappier. What about this? I don't know. Is that any better? Let me see. Oh, Jesus. No. Oh, no. Tell me if this is any better. Yeah, okay. See if that fixes anything. But yeah, like I said, MGK covers of Aerials is so god-awful. Well, yeah. Let's actually take a look at that.
When you choose something to cover, it's got to be a band you respect. And today you're going to do a cover of a band that I love, System of a Down. I played their music all, in the 90s.
All right, so this is from the Stern Show.
That's a great band, right?
Great band.
I'm going to go ahead and try to skip through this if I can, if it's going to let me. Yeah. Just listen to this. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I had enough of that. I can't deal with that shit. Woof. That was bad. Yeah, I had enough of that. Okay. Anyway, sorry, all the technical issues. It's a live stream. It's the kind of thing that happens. Yeah. God. Whatever. That. What's up with these guys doing these like awful covers? Like Puddle of Mud did that About a Girl cover, and it was just like, just horrendous. This kind of brings me to my next point. Hold on, comment here. So Howard Stern played all 2 singles of System of a Down in the 90s, or did he mean he played all 13 tracks that are self-titled? What a fake fan. I know that Howard Stern really likes music. I think he really likes like 90s music, like the 90s rock type of stuff. Because he had like Billy Corgan on from the Smashing Pumpkins, and seemed to really like his music and all that. I don't know. I think I don't know about Howard's whole music thing, but anyway, so now, okay, I want to bring your attention to this news article that I found pretty fascinating. And basically, it is from the Atlantic. And I don't know why the text is looking the way it is, like it's like translucent or whatever. But the title of this article is Old Music Killing New Music? Old songs now represent 70% of the U.S. music market. Even worse, the new music market is actually shrinking, which I find this very interesting. So the article says, old songs now represent 70% of the U.S. music market, according to the latest numbers from MRC Data, a music analytics firm. Those who make a living from new music, especially that endangered species known as the working musician, should look at these figures with fear and trembling, but the news gets worse. The new music market is actually shrinking. All the growth in the market is coming from old songs. They have this graphic here, but I'm not sure what to make of that, so we're just going to keep reading. The 200 most popular new tracks now regularly account for less than 5% of total streams. That rate was twice as high just 3 years ago. The mix of songs actually purchased by consumers is even more tilted toward older music. The current list of most downloaded tracks on iTunes is filled with the names of bands from the previous century, such as Creedence Clearwater Revival and The Police. I encountered this phenomenon myself recently at a retail store where the youngster at the cash register was singing along with Sting on Message in a Bottle, a hit from 1979, as it blasted on the radio. A few days earlier, I had a similar experience at a local diner where the entire staff was under 30, but every song was more than 40 years old. I asked my server, "Why are you playing this old music?" She looked up at me in surprise before answering, "Oh, I like these songs." Never before in history have new tracks attained hit status while generating so little cultural impact. In fact, the audience seems to be embracing the hits of decades past instead. Yes, go new generation. This article is giving me hope, actually. It's making me happier instead of, like, sad. Success was always short-lived in the music business, but now even new songs that become bona fide hits can pass unnoticed by much of the population because they suck! Because the songs are fucking awful! The new songs are fucking garbage, dude! Old man yells at clouds right now. Yeah, I get it. I sound like an old fart complaining about, it's not like it was in my day. But dude, this article literally backs up what I've been saying this whole time about how people aren't writing music that is meant to last. They're writing music that is meant to go viral and become a TikTok sensation, and then it'll be forgotten about a month later. I see so many songs, being a DJ, I've seen so many songs come and go through my playlist. And you know how many songs that have come out in like the last, 8 years that I've actually saved on one of my DJ playlists and that I still regularly play? About maybe 20 out of all the songs that have come out, because so many of them are just these disposable, just overly produced, heartless, throwaway pop or rap tracks. God, especially rap music. I remember DJing at this bar that was predominantly like an urban audience. And of course, the main music an urban audience is going to want to hear is rap. And I was so surprised at how fickle that world is, because literally, like, one day they would be all about this one song by this one artist, and then the next week no one even asked about that song. No one wanted to hear it. No one cared. There was a new song out by this new rapper, and man, rappers fall off quick. Like, I mean, just thinking of like the names that run through my head, like Waka Flocka and Fetty Wap and Big Sean, and it's like they were literally hot for like a year. Or what's his face? It got locked up. Don't you think I'm a hot boy? Or what's his name? I forget. Anyway, that guy, hot boy, was the track. I forget the guy's name, but he's gone. He's done because they're not writing good songs that are meant to last. Anyway, I digress. Every week, and I'll highlight it so you can kind of read along with me. Every week I hear from hundreds of publicists, record labels, band managers, and other professionals who want to hype the newest thing. Their livelihoods depend on it. The entire business model of the music industry is built on promoting new songs. As a music writer, I'm expected to do the same, as are radio stations, retailers, DJs, nightclub owners, editors, playlist curators, and everyone else with skin in the game. Yet all the evidence indicates that few listeners are paying attention. Consider the reaction when the Grammy Awards were postponed. Perhaps I should say lack of reaction, because the cultural response was little more than a yawn. I follow thousands of music professionals on social media, and I didn't encounter a single expression of annoyance or regret that the biggest annual event in music had been put on hold. That's ominous. Can you imagine how angry fans would be if the Super Bowl or NBA Finals were delayed? People would riot in the streets, but the Grammy Awards go missing in action and hardly anyone notices. Well, you know, another reason for that is because music has become so fucking disposable now. And I hate to say it, but honestly, Napster really started the whole grand devaluing and depreciation of music in general. I mean, it just did. And Spotify put the nail in the coffin. I mean, people just really couldn't care less now. Like, music is so disposable. Like, back in the day when you actually had to go out and buy a CD and invest in a physical piece of property, you know, you had to get one of these things, like a compact disc, you know. If I can fucking open the thing, you know, to get one of these things. You tended to, like, appreciate it more, and you tended to, like, have more skin in the game because you have this piece of plastic and you spent money on it, and damn it, you're gonna listen to it because you want to, you know, like, feel good about your investment. I mean, with Spotify, yeah, you pay $10 a month, but I mean, you know, what is it jumping from one song to another when you have this whole universe of music at your fingertips and you're only paying $10 a month for it? I mean, it's just, you're not going to appreciate it the same way. I mean, you're just not. I went to this friend of mine's house the other day, and she was putting on music on using Spotify, and she's like 22 years old, and my God, the amount of times that she would skip the fuck around and not stick to one song. She would play 30 seconds of one song and then just skip to the next song. And I literally just said to her, I go, bro, can you just, like, leave it on one song for, like, the whole song? Like, what are you doing? And that's, you know, that's kind of the attention span of a 22-year-old these days. You can thank TikTok for that too. Studies have shown that people who watch TikTok too much, like, they have twitches, like little, you know, ticks and twitches. It's rewiring a part of your brain and turning people, I feel, into you know, ADHD, ADD, whatever you want to call it, and the attention span is just not there. So anyway, getting back to this article, the declining TV audience for the Grammy show underscores this shift. In 2021, viewership for the ceremony collapsed 53% from previous year, from 18.7 million to 8.8 million. Damn, that is a huge drop. It was the least watched Grammy broadcast of all time. Even the core audience for new music couldn't be bothered. About 98% of people ages 18 to 49 had something better to do than watch the biggest music celebration of the year. A decade ago, 40 million people watched the Grammys. Just 10 years ago, in 2012, 2012, when music was already, like, especially when rock was like breathing its last gasps of breath, there was still 40 million people who were watching the Grammys. That's a meaningful audience, but now the devoted fans of this event are starting to resemble a tiny subculture. More people pay attention to streams of video games on Twitch, which now gets 30 million daily visitors, or the latest reality TV show. In fact, musicians would probably do better getting placement in Fortnite than signing a record deal in 2022. At least they would have access to a growing demographic. Yeah, and then you see the graphic here of the decline of the Grammys. And I would say it's because of the decline of the quality of music. Even though I have TikTok, I hardly ever use it. Dude, I never watch TikTok. I post our videos on there just because we're trying to grow our base. That's it. Like, we're trying to get a fan base on TikTok so they listen to our music. Like, that's what you have to do now as a musician. You have to do shit like get a TikTok account and dance. Dance, monkey, dance, you know, like to get people interested in your product. You know, God knows we're not going to get radio play anytime soon, so you have to do anything and everything you can. Some would like to believe that this trend is just a short-term blip, perhaps caused by a pandemic. It's not. When clubs open up again and DJs start spinning new records at parties, the world will return to normal, or so we're told. The hottest songs will again be the newest songs. I'm not so optimistic. Me neither, guy who wrote this article. A series of unfortunate events are conspiring to marginalize new music. The pandemic is one of these ugly facts, but hardly the only contributor to the growing crisis. Consider these other trends. The leading area of investment in the music business is old songs. Investment firms are getting into bidding wars to buy publishing catalogs from aging rock and pop stars, which makes sense and you know, that reminds me, you know, talking about the guy in the restaurant and then all the kids were singing these like old songs and it's like, how do you even know this? Whenever I do my karaoke nights, the amount of like really like early 20-somethings who are singing these songs from like the 80s and 90s, it does kind of blow my mind. Like, how do you know this song? Like, why do you care about this song? And if that's the case, why can't you care about 90s alternative rock, goddammit? The Smashing Pumpkins are awesome. Guten Tag, Farmer Slide, Joe Bob. I use it when it was called Musical.ly. Yeah, a lot of people said that. They're like, oh yeah, I used to do TikTok back when it was called Musical.ly because it was more music-based or something. I ain't got no time for that. The song catalogs in most demand are by musicians who are in their 70s and 80s. Bob Dylan, Paul Simon, Bruce Springsteen, or already dead, David Bowie, James Brown. Yeah, because these people wrote real songs back in the day. They wrote shit that was meant to last and had heart and feeling and didn't sound like every other fucking thing. Like when a rapper comes out with a new rap song, let's say DaBaby or Lil Baby, whenever they come out with a new song, you pretty much know what it's going to sound like. It's going to have this like thumping hip hop beat with these trap sounding hi-hats, and he's going to be essentially talking fast. That's how Gene Simmons described rapping one time, and I just think that's the most hilarious description of it, because I mean, that is such an old man way to describe rap. Like, I don't understand why Run DMC are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're just talking fast. Like, he's not completely wrong, but I mean, they kind of rhyme too, so it's a little bit more talent than just talking fast. Even major labels are participating in the rush to old music. Universal Music, Sony Music, Warner Music, and others are buying up publishing catalogs and investing huge sums in old tunes. In a previous time, that money would have been used to launch new artists. Yep. There is no development. There's no artist development anymore in record industries, record labels. Those kind of mid-tier bands like TV on the Radio and Interpol and like say, what's that band that did Electric Feel? MGMT, like those kind of bands, those indie bands that were popular in the early 2000s and 10s. Record companies don't have the money, or they're not willing to invest in bands like that anymore because they're not going to be these super big hit makers. But they're making songs that people are going to want to listen to 20 years down the road more than the pop shit that's selling right now. I can guarantee you that. The best-selling physical format in music is the vinyl LP, which is more than 70 years old. I've seen no signs that the record labels are investing in a newer, better alternative because here too, old is viewed as superior to new. Yeah, and I've always argued the fact that like there is nothing that ever replaced CDs as far as physical media is concerned. In fact, record labels, once a source of innovation in consumer products, don't spend any money on research and development to revitalize their business, although every other industry looks for innovation and growth and consumer excitement. So sad, man. Record stores are caught up in the same time warp. In an earlier era, they aggressively marketed new music, but now they make more money from vinyl reissues and used LPs. And that is so true. If you ever go to Walmart and if you look at their vinyl section, most of it is like Beatles records and these like old records that by these bands that have like long since disbanded. Radio stations are contributing to the stagnation, putting fewer new songs into their rotation, or, judging by the offerings of my satellite radio lineup, completely ignoring new music in favor of old hits. Now, I have satellite radio, and I disagree with that. I hear a lot of new music on satellite radio, but the bands are so obscure and so new, and the songs just aren't there because, like, I shouldn't say nobody. It seems like there's very few exciting mainstream sounding acts now. So what you get is this huge like gully, I guess, or this huge chasm where you have the uberly successful here and then the obscure indie bands here, and then there's this huge gap in the middle that used to be filled with, they're not super big, but they're not super small, like your mid-tier level bands. That has just disappeared. When a new song overcomes these obstacles and actually becomes a hit, the risk of copyright lawsuits is greater than ever before. The risks have increased enormously since the, quote, blurred lines, end quote, jury decision of 2015. The result is that additional cash gets transferred from today's musicians to old artists. That's kind of a weak point in this article because it's like, yeah, there's a few cases of plagiarism, but honestly, that doesn't happen enough to be like, oh, if a new song comes out and becomes a hit, some older artist is going to come after them and sue them and claim plagiarism. Like that very rarely happens. And that Robin Thicke blurred lines case I thought was a little ridiculous. I don't know. I don't think that they should have gotten sued for that. It's like the vibe was there, but I mean, the Marvin Gaye's melody was totally different and the bass line was different anyway. Adding to the nightmare, dead musicians are now coming back to life in virtual form via holograms and deep fake music, making it all the harder for younger living artists to compete in the marketplace. As record labels lose interest in new music, emerging performers desperately search for other ways to get exposure. Like us, like our band, Dancing with Ghosts, we're desperately searching. They hope to place their self-produced tracks on a curated streaming playlist. Yes, that is something that we are always trying to do. We're always trying to get our music on a fucking curated playlist. Or license their songs for use in advertising or closing credits of a TV show. Yes, me and Stephanie have talked extensively about that, getting our music on a commercial or some show or something. Those options might generate some royalty income, but they do little to build name recognition, which again is also true. You might hear a cool song on a TV commercial, but do you even know the name of the artist? You love your workout playlist at the health club, but how many song titles and band names do you remember? You stream a Spotify new music playlist in the background while you work, but did you bother to learn who's singing the songs? This is so sad because like I do this myself. I will put on Spotify and just kind of listen, and I try to like look at who the artist is or what the song is, but man, half the time I just don't. So I'm part of the problem is what I'm saying. Decades ago, the composer Eric Satie announced the arrival of, quote, furniture music, a kind of song that would blend seamlessly into the background of our lives. His vision seems closer to reality than ever. Some people, especially baby boomers, tell me this decline in the popularity of new music is simply the result of lousy new songs. I tend to agree. Music used to be better, or so they say. The old songs had better melodies, more interesting harmonies, and demonstrated genuine musicianship, not just software loops, auto-tuned vocals, and regurgitated samples. Hey, boomers, I gotta agree with you on that one. There will never be another Soundheim, they tell me, or Joni Mitchell, or Bob Dylan, or Cole Porter, or Brian Wilson. I almost expect these doomsayers to break out in a stirring rendition of old-time rock and roll, much like Tom Cruise in his underpants. I can understand the frustrations of music lovers who get no satisfaction from current mainstream songs, though they try and they try. I also lament the lack of imagination on many modern hits, but I disagree with my boomer friends' larger verdict. I listen to 2 or 3 hours of new music every day, and I know that plenty of exceptional young musicians are out there trying to make it. They exist, but the music industry has lost its ability to discover and nurture their talents. Music industry bigwigs have plenty of excuses for their inability to discover and inadequately promote great new artists. The fear of copyright lawsuits has made many in the industry deathly afraid of listening to unsolicited demo recordings. If you hear a demo today, you might get sued for stealing its melody or maybe just its rhythmic groove. 5 years from now, try mailing a demo to a label or producer and watch it return unopened. Yeah, dude, I have mailed so many of our albums out to radio stations and labels and whoever, and literally got no response. In fact, one radio station was like, well, we want you to send 2 copies. So I did. I sent 2 copies and nothing, dude. I probably mailed out like 20 of our albums to various people, and nothing ever came from it. It literally was just a waste of money. The people whose livelihood depends on discovering new musical talent face legal risks if they take their job seriously. That's only one of the deleterious, I don't know what that word means, results of the music industry's over-reliance on lawyers and litigation, a hard-ass approach they once hoped would cure all their problems, but now does more harm than good. Everybody suffers in this litigious environment except for the partners at the entertainment law firms who enjoy the abundant fruits of all these lawsuits and legal threats. I don't know about all that, but the problem goes deeper than just copyright concerns. The people running the music industry have lost confidence in new music. They won't admit it publicly. That would be like the priests of Jupiter and Apollo in ancient Rome admitting that their gods are dead. Even if they know it's true, their job titles won't allow such a humble and objective confession. Yet that is exactly what's happening. The moguls have lost their faith in the redemptive and life-changing power of new music. How sad is that, right? Of course, the decision makers need to pretend that they still believe in the future of their business and want to discover the next revolutionary talent, but that's not what they really think. Their actions speak much louder than their empty words. Wow, this is this is all pretty like doomsday shit, but it's quite frankly very true. In fact, nothing is less interesting to music executives than a completely radical new kind of music. Who can blame them for feeling this way? The radio stations will play only songs that fit the dominant formulas, which haven't changed much in decades. Can't argue with that. The algorithms curating so much of our new music are even worse. Music algorithms are designed to be feedback loops, ensuring that the promoted new songs are virtually identical to your favorite old songs. Anything that genuinely breaks the mold is excluded from consideration almost as a rule. That's actually how the current system has been designed to work. Wow, is that why my band has never literally ever made it on any of these music curated playlists? I'm starting to learn a lot here as to why we're not as successful as we should be. Even the music genres famous for shaking up the world, rock or jazz or hip hop, face the same deadening industry mindset. I love jazz, but many of the radio stations focused on that genre play songs that sound almost the same as what they featured 10 or 20 years ago. In many cases, they are actually the same songs. This state of affairs is not inevitable. A lot of musicians around the world, especially in Los Angeles and London, are conducting a bold dialogue between jazz and other contemporary styles. Okay, they're talking about jazz now, I don't care. A country record needs to sound a certain way to get played on most country radio stations or playlists, and the sound those DJs and algorithms are looking for dates back to a prior century. And don't even get me started on the classical music industry, which works hard to avoid showcasing the creativity of the current generation. We are living in an amazing era of classical composition with only one tiny problem. The institutions controlling the genre didn't want you to hear it. The problem isn't a lack of good music, it's an institutional failure to discover and nurture it. Ugh, God, this is like every problem that my band is facing right now. This is like answering so many questions that I've had. I learned the danger of excessive caution long ago when I consulted for huge Fortune 500 companies. The single biggest problem I encountered, shared by virtually every large company I analyzed, was investing too much of their time and money into defending old ways of doing business rather than building new ones. We even had a proprietary tool for quantifying this misallocation of resources that spelled out the mistakes in precise dollars and cents. Okay, I'm going to skip past this. Blah, 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 blah. Even so, I refuse to accept that we were in some grim endgame, witnessing the death throes of new music. And I say that because I know how much people crave something that sounds fresh and exciting and different. If they don't find it from a major label or algorithm-driven playlist, they will find it somewhere else. Songs can go viral nowadays without the entertainment industry even noticing until it already happened. That will be how this story ends, not with the marginalization of new music, but with something radical emerging from an unexpected place. God damn, this is a long article. Sorry, I didn't. We went from MGK to talking about the death of the music industry, people. You never know what's going to happen on a Josh live stream. I needed to wet my whistle here. That's kind of a creepy phrase, isn't it? Wet my whistle. Sounds kind of sexual. The apparent dead ends of the past were circumvented the same way. Music company execs in 1955 had no idea that rock and roll would soon sweep away. All right, this is a really long freaking article. So you get the point. And yeah, that's why rock's not coming back, people. MGK is leaving rock, and everyone's like, oh my God, there goes our hope for a pop punk revival. But the point is that it's just not going to happen. The industry execs are too afraid to invest in anything new. Therefore, you're not going to hear it first. A fan base is not going to be built for it. A culture is not going to be built around it. Yeah, hey, little girl, you want to wet my whistle? Jesus Christ. I know, it's like a really perverted sounding phrase. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I have to say about all this. I've been talking about kind of like the death of like rock and the music industry and all that. I mean, obviously rock's not dead, but like it's just never going to get the mainstream push that it did in the 90s. It's never going to be the 90s again or early 2000s. That time is long dead. And I don't even know why I still am trying to do this music thing. I guess I really genuinely love it. Anyway, I'm going to end the video now. I've probably gone on way too long. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, tell me what you want me to do next. I need some new, fresh ideas for this channel musically, or music-wise. Get it musically, what TikTok used to be. Anyway, yeah. And until next time, have a good rest of your night or day. Goodbye.